Hey guys, it's Steve with Spirit Mechanics, and you caught me still blind in my own living room. Um, for those asking why these all look the same, it's because I record both the quick word and the forecast at the same time. So, just letting you guys know. So it's not like, does he ever fucking change his clothes? Yes. Yeah, I do on occasion. But, depending on when this actually airs, hopefully it finds you all well. You guys are doing awesome, enjoying your summer. If you did come to the Mystical Market, seeing this after we've been there, we appreciate you as always. And there's always next month. It is every third weekend of every month, aside from October or special events or emergencies. But so far, it's every third weekend of every month. Alrighty, so looking at the forecast, right? The forecast is going to be pretty cut and dry this week. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, we have Pluto, which is rocking full tilt, and we have, Neptune that is now in retrograde. We also have Saturn, which is now in retrograde, and coming up Friday, so the 18th of July, we're going to be sitting with Mercury in full retrograde. So we have a lot of wild shit going on. That's not really wild. You have Pluto, which is the planet of transformation and transition, as well as rebirth and regeneration. Basically, the death card in tarot. It perpetuates change, but specifically through inner conflict. Pluto makes you take a full inventory of your views, your doings, your things that you have going on. And it allows you to see whether or not you're the problem. If you are the problem, it doesn't let go of it until you either let go of it or fix it. If you're not the problem, it helps you overcome that. Pluto is kind of raw with a lot of people because of that introspect. Now, you have Neptune on the flip of that is completely abstract. It helps you think outside the box. It's the dreamer's planet. So abstract thought and movement, things are a little bit more, not necessarily spontaneous, but there's a wider view. There's a larger grasp of a lot of different things. Horizons are easily broadened during Neptune, and it's easier to make your dreams an actual reality during Neptune. Now, the issue with Neptune is it blurs the lines between what we view as boundaries and what are actual comfort zones. For those that didn't know, a comfort zone is, yes, it's a useful tool, but it's not something that's safe over time. As we change, those comfort zones become invalid. So the things that we need to stay comfortable in wind up either being crutches or excuses for bad behavior, or excuses to allow bad behavior. Now, a boundary is literally a line that is drawn and a brick wall that is erected. A boundary is a rule that is set in place for both you and those around you. Things that you will or will not accept, things that you will or will not do, things that you will or will not be associated with. A boundary is something that is an actual necessity, whereas a comfort zone is just, as its name suggests, for you being comfortable. Just because you are comfortable doesn't mean that you're safe. It doesn't mean that you're being respected. It doesn't mean you're being respectful. It just means that you feel comfortable in that situation. Keep that in mind. But Neptune literally blurs the line there. It makes sure that if it's a comfort zone, it kind of breaks down. So you can't really hide in the same spaces or use the same wordings or fall back on the same routine. Then we have Saturn. Saturn is one of my favorite planets when it goes retrograde, just because I'm OCD and I'm order driven. But for those that aren't, it can be a difficult time. Saturn has a tendency to really make you view your responsibilities, what it is that you have taken accountability for that you shouldn't, what it is that you really need to step up and take responsibility for because it is actually your issue. It also helps you with your routines, the things that you're wanting to put in place as far as a goal system. Saturn is the all-around efficiency master. It helps you really get back on track. The problem is that it does these things through tough love. So it helps you understand these things through scrutiny. So you are literally under the microscope at that particular point. Now, lastly, we have Mercury coming into retrograde. Now, Mercury gets a lot of guff and shit for being the problem retrograde, when in fact, honestly, it's the one that causes the least mischief. Mercury just gives us what we want. That's the problem. Mercury is a karma-driven planet, and therefore is a very chaotic planet that is driven by order. And what I mean by that is, if you ask for positive things in your life, and you're willing to work towards those positive things in life, Mercury will use the law of attraction to bring those things into your life as long as you follow your end of the deal. If all you want to do is get something from nothing, Mercury's going to have you fall on your face. Now, if you are one of those people that are 100% glass half empty, things may be a little bit more difficult. Because at that particular point, Mercury is literally going to see what it is that you're asking for and go, cool, I don't quite agree, but if what you want is a little bit of added stress, that's what you're going to get. And has a tendency to give you exactly what you want, at least by presentation. Now, the other thing that it does, because of this, situation where what you say and what you feel being two different things half the time, what happens is your perception of things winds up skewed. That's the reason why communication is difficult, and it's very easy to slide off the same page that you were on with other people. It's a little bit more difficult to bridge gaps during Mercury because of that as well, because if you can't be on the same page, it's more problematic to try and see eye to eye. Does it mean it's impossible? No. Does it mean that, the world is going to end? No. It just means that you actually have to throw some effort at it instead of expecting it to come easy. Now, what do all these combined mean? Well, we really talked about that last forecast. But there's a little bit of a shift that's going on towards some irregular energy. Now, what I mean by irregular is it's not something that we typically see, and there's been a lot of that this year. We've had a lot of supermoons, we've had, some eclipses, we've had some, meteor showers, we've had massive solar flares and storms. Our geomagnetics have been weird. Like, this has been the year of strangeness, flow-wise. And it's not really getting any better. So what happens with Pluto and Neptune and Saturn and Mercury being together is now's the time to get shit done. If you're wanting to better yourself, and you're wanting to choose better, you're wanting to do better, be something more than you were, or at least try to cross some things off a list, now's the time to do it. You're going to have a lot less trouble thinking things through. You're going to have a lot less trouble finding the logic. You're going to have a lot less trouble helping it make sense for other people why it is that you want to do the things you do or change the things you want to change. The reason being is right now, everything is in a directed state. It is what you choose it to be currently. This is a state that is known as true order. True order we've had, multiple times throughout the years. This time, it's really fucking interesting because it's coming off the back of a law state. We talked about that, with the past couple of forecasts. This is coming off the back of a law state, meaning whatever you dictate as the way your life should go, this current true order state is going to make sure it fucking gets there. Be aware of the choices you make right now. Be aware of the things that you decide to do right now. Really think things through. Is it really going to be the best idea to perpetuate a cycle? Or is it time to end it and start something new? Is it really best for you to, continue where you're at? Or should you think about going somewhere else? Are the relationships that you currently have actually being reciprocated? Are they actually of value? Or are they one-sided? There's things to think about right now. Things that are really on the table that could really make a difference. As far as metaphysics goes, we're looking at the good or the metaphysical benefits. Benefits during a true order state are literally boundless. And the reason why is it's really hard to fuck up. I'm just being serious. If you are doing something like hermetics or more purpose-driven alchemy, if you're doing things like fundamentalist work, if you're doing certain ritual castings or trying to do multi-step process workings, right now, it's very difficult to fuck it up. Everything is going to work as it should right now. You're really going to have to try hard for it to fail, for it to fall through, for something to just go wrong. Now, it's not to say that you should just haphazardly or lackadaisically go about your business, but it does mean that if something is just slightly off, or if something, is missed, or if there's a misword or misstep, it's okay. It's just as easy to start the process from where it is the hiccup was, and it will still work. It's going to be okay. Gifts are not going to be as strained right now. A lot of times people have a tendency to, overexert themselves, and that's part of the reason why they get so strained when it comes to using their gifts. Well, I have to will it to happen. I have to force it to happen. I got to use all this energy to make this thing go down. No, you don't. A gift is a gift. It's something you naturally do. If you're forcing it, all you're doing is holding your breath and expecting something else to breathe for you. Calm down. Pay attention. That thing that you're trying so hard to make happen is either actively happening or is waiting on you to actually give it purpose. So be aware of that. It's really cool right now. As far as learning new skills and doing new things, now's a great time to do both. If you're wanting to start a different field of metaphysics, if you're wanting to go into a different field of study or learn a new practice, you know, or change what it is that you currently do as a practice or a public service, like Reiki or massage, physical alchemy, stone attunement, different things like that. If you want to change those things and the way they work for you or the way that you approach it when you're helping other people, now's a great time to do that because things are going to fall into place and make sense as long as you have a direction for it. Now, looking at the bad or metaphysical issues. During True Order, there's very fucking few. There's very fucking few as far as issues. The one thing that can be an issue is if you become wishy-washy or start a process and don't finish it, things can be a little problematic when it comes to that. Your energy will be off a little bit. The headspace will be off a little bit. There's going to be a lot of things that wind up skewed. And the reason why is True Order is supposed to be setting things on the path that you choose. Well, if you start walking and then go, oh, fuck, and literally stop, abruptly or backpedal, then that process you started has to be broken down before a new one can start. So be aware of that. Looking at the ugly or the mundane effects. Now, we talked a lot about that at the beginning, as I always do when I'm actually explaining the retrogrades and how they fit together. A lot of people right now are going to be having a lot of personal epiphany. This has been a running thing over the last couple of forecasts. People are going to be having a lot of personal epiphanies, both about the way they handle themselves, about those around them, how they handle themselves, or how the relationships around them go or with them go. People are going to be having a lot of thoughts about where it is they need to go, how it is they need to move on with spirituality or change career or change location. There's going to be a lot of a need to want to abruptly fix things or shift perspectives right now. You're going to find some people, as you would, this is just normal talk. You would find some people that are going to be completely obstinate right now and dig their heels in and say there's nothing wrong, it's everybody else's fault. Or even if they admit the fact that some of the things that they have going on are their fault, they're still not going to want to fix them. Or in some cases, they're just not going to know how. Expect these people to have a lot of questions about what it is and why it is you're changing. If you're some of these people that are going to have these massive or even minor epiphanies, but still, life-changing moments, if you're one of those particular people, expect others to go, what the fuck? Why are you doing that? Why is this changing? Well, why'd you say that? Well, why does this need to be this way? You always did it that way. Or the most detrimental questions. Well, why aren't you doing it like me? Well, you're doing it that way. Am I doing it wrong? Shit like that. There's going to be a lot of those kinds of questions. And I'm talking about the whole deal, not just the last couple. Be patient with each other. Right now, there's going to be a lot of learning. A lot of people learning themselves. There's going to be a lot of relearning the world. Perception leads to philosophy, and philosophy leads to purpose. The way we view ourselves, the way we view the world, and the way we view the world's view of us leads to how it is we cope with it, what it is we say, how it is we interact. our philosophy. And our philosophy gives us our career, our drive, our goals, our dreams. It gives us our purpose. Right now, all that's going to start to shift. For some, it's going to make major sense. For others, it's going to slowly begin to make sense. And for the stragglers, don't be afraid to ask for help. You're not going to be a bitch or a punk for, asking someone their perspective or trying to get some assistance on some things. It's okay. Now, looking at elements, its true order, that means literally all of them are going to see an increase. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean elemental affinity in general. So usually your birth sign and then your mother's birth sign. Those two actually literally impact your life. So understanding those particular elemental affinities allows you to actually understand what I'm saying as far as whether or not you're going to see an increase in your energy, in your production, in, the boons you get, a decrease in those things, or somewhere in between. I hope that these forecasts are finding everybody well. I hope that everybody's having an awesome summer, having an awesome holiday. We've got some fun stuff coming up. July is fun month. If you guys have been wondering why it is that we've been kind of going off the cuff, that's the reason why. July is always our free month, our chaos month, and it's because everybody's doing vacations or planning events or, trying to get things figured out. It's also a recharge month. So similar to December, July is our first month of the year where we kind of let things slide a little bit. We're not quite as, professional, cough, cough. We're not quite as together, that kind of thing, because we want to play things a little fast and loose. So that's what's up with this. But we do have some pretty cool stuff in store for you guys. And as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember that those that have the power to change themselves have the power to change the world around themselves. Love y'all.
If you like this video, make sure you check out the Spirit Mechanics YouTube channel, where we have dozens of videos going into various spiritual topics, some music, and we take you on our adventures while we ghost hunt. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with every new episode.